What's up, MetaNerdz? This video is all about the All-Terrain Attack Pod, also known as the AT-AP. It was developed by Kuat Drive Yards, the same people that made the AT-TE and the later AT-AT. They were the company behind most of the Republic vehicles, and they didn't get the idea for making the AT-AP until later on in the Clone Wars. The success of both the AT-PT and the AT-TE showed Kuat Drive Yards that their walkers made a huge impact on the battlefield, and they were confident that they could help the Republic fighting force by making a sort of shrunken down AT-TE, something that could be smaller and more agile, but still pack a big punch. Kuat Drive Yards made these for the price of 150,000 credits. That's the cost of 2.5 Hailfire droids. And when this thing was fully built and stomped off the assembly line, it was 11 meters or 36 feet tall, making it about the height of 4.5 Wookiees. And it had a top speed of 60 kilometers per hour or 37 miles per hour, which is surprising because that's the top speed of the much larger AT-TE. Now, it didn't have any shields, but it had superconducting armor. Now, this worked in a really cool way. When enemy laser cannon would hit the AT-AP, the bolt would be conducted across the entire surface of the vehicle. Thus, it would reduce the impact at any particular spot, making it very difficult to penetrate the armor. And for offense, it had 3 very powerful weapons. Up top, it has a heavy blaster cannon. On the bottom, a medium laser cannon. And that big gun in the middle is the heavy projectile launcher. This was similar to the main guns on the LAAT and the AT-TE. And this wasn't a laser or plasma or anything like that. It was an actual high explosive round that was fired, similar to tanks in our world. Now, its history doesn't start until later in the Clone Wars, as the Republic realized that although the AT-TE was awesome, it was also massive. And the clone troopers and Jedi both realized that what was awesome about the AT-AP was being able to get all that heavy firepower through denser and more difficult terrain, but also into better flanking positions. It's just human and droid nature to be worried about the biggest threat on the battlefield. And so the AT-AP was almost always paired with AT-TEs or juggernauts. And as the droids tried to deal with this more obvious threat, the AT-APs could move in a pincer position, flanking their enemies from either side. Sadly, we don't have very much footage on these things being used, and the only time we see them in the movies is during the Battle of Kashyyyk and alongside Aayla Secura on Felucia. During this battle, we see that they are paired with larger vehicles, but they're not exactly used tactically. Since the Separatists were storming the beach, the Juggernauts and the AT-AP just kinda ran down to meet them. And on Felucia, we just see a quick shot of them walking by. Though it was planets with heavy vegetation, like Felucia, that inspired the AT-AP's design. After the end of the Clone Wars, the Empire continued to use AT-APs for some time, and they actually continued the production of these throughout the Galactic Civil War, which is really cool because some rebels were actually able to hijack supply lines, and thus there were AT-APs fighting for and against the Empire. Not to be outdone, many pirates and Hutt cartel members also hijacked Imperial supply lines, and thus got their own AT-APs. The Zon Consortium perhaps had the most AT-APs of any criminal organization. But that's where the AT-AP's history ends. But before you go, I want to go over some cool facts and some behind the scenes stuff. Lucas brought up the idea of diversifying the walkers in the battlefield late in the production of Episode 3, and its original name was PAW, or the PAW, Pod Attack Walker. In our galaxy, there are a whole bunch of different LEGO versions, and it appears in some video games. Most recently, it's in the Star Wars Commander mobile game. Well, that's it for the All-Terrain Attack Pod. If you liked it, go ahead and hit that like button, and be sure to leave a comment down below if I missed any cool facts, or if you have a suggestion for future videos. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at MetaNerdz so you can see us build Star Wars props and cosplays, along with some other cool Star Wars stuff. If you want to help support this channel, check out the description below for our Amazon store and our Patreon. And be sure to subscribe, because we're making videos like this every single day. But most important of all, remember, always watch your flank, and the Force will be with you. Always.